Hello everybody, this is the fourth lecture on the literary devices or the figures of the speech, and today we are going to discuss the four literary devices. The very first is defamiliarization, second is personification, then is monologue, and the fourth one is onomatopoeia. So to begin with, the first literary term is defamiliarization. It is the artistic technique of presenting to audience common things in an unfamiliar or strange way so they could gain new perspectives and see the world differently. The term defamiliarization was coined by the Russian formalist, that is Viktor Slavoksky, in 1917 in his essay Art as Device. He invented the term as a means to distinguish poetic from the practical language on the basis of the former's perceptibility. It refers to the literary device whereby language is used in such a way that ordinary and familiar objects are made to look different. It is that aspect which differentiates between ordinary uses and the poetic uses of language and imparts uniqueness to a literary work. If we talk about the examples of defamiliarization in literature, the very first example is a poem by William Wordsworth. That poem is Daffodils. In this poem, there is a line, 10,000 saw I at a glance. So if we talk about this line, in this line the poet alters the syntax of the sentence and renews the reader's capacity to comprehend multiple meanings in the given context. Similarly, another poem that is by John Keats, his expressions like heard melodies are sweet, but the unheard are sweeter. These lines are from the poem Ode on a Grecian Urn. It also allows the reader to explore new associations for a mature understanding of the poem. Apart from that, a similar technique developed in drama was alienation effect. It was introduced by Bertolt Brecht in his essay, that is Epic Theatre, to disrupt the passive complacency of the audience and force them into a critical analysis of art as well as the world. The next literary term is personification. So personification is a figure of speech in which an idea or thing is given human attributes or the feelings or is spoken of as if it were humans. Personification is a common form of metaphor in that human characteristics are attributed to non-human things. This allows writers to create life and motion within inanimate objects, animals, and even abstract ideas by assigning them recognizable human behaviors and emotions. If we talk about some of the common examples of personification that may be found in everyday writing and conversation, like we say, the wind is whispering outside. The second example is the windows are watching us. Another example we often use in a conversation is the sun smiled down on me, or my heart danced when he walked into the room. So these are the common examples of personification which we use in our daily conversation. Apart from that, there are other examples of personification in literature. Like the very first example, these lines are from the play that is The Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. In this example, we can see here the moon is personified as the governess of flood. Another example is from the novel that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The lines, her heart was divided between concern for her sister and resentment against all the others. So in this line we can see the heart is personified. Jane Austen writes about a heart that feels concern and resentment also. The third literary device is monologue. Monologue comes from the Greek words monos, which means alone, and logos, which means speech. It is a literary device that is the speech or verbal presentation given by a single character in order to express his or her collection of thoughts and ideas aloud. Often such a character speaks directly to the audience or to another characters. So there are basically two types of monologues. One is interior monologue and the another is dramatic monologue. If we talk about interior monologue, in interior monologue, a character externalizes his thoughts so that the audience can experience his internal thoughts. It is often used in plays, movies, novels, and it is also called a stream of consciousness technique. Another type of monologue is dramatic monologue. In this type of monologue, a character speaks to the silent listener. This type has theatrical qualities, hence it is also known as dramatic monologue, and this dramatic monologue is frequently used in poetry. If we talk about examples of dramatic monologue, the most common example is from the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. It is written in the form of a dramatic monologue, in which the poet is trying to explore the causes of pain and suffering of an insecure young man who is confused about whether or not he should attend a party. Another example of monologue is one of the poem by Robert Browning, that is My Last Touches. It's also a perfect example of dramatic monologue. In this poem, the single speaker is addressing the servant of a count. So if we talk about monologue and soliloquies are considered similar as both are speeches presented by a single person. But a major difference between them is that in monologue, the speaker reveals his thoughts to the audience or to any other character. Whereas in soliloquy, the speaker expresses his thoughts to himself and doesn't involve any other character. In the last literary device or the figure of speech I'm going to discuss is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a figure of speech in which words evoke the actual sound of the things they refer to or describe. Like if we talk about the common examples, the very first is the boom of the firework exploding, the tick-tock of a clock, and the ding-dong of a doorbell are the examples of onomatopoeia. Apart from that, there are also other common examples like the buzzing bee flew away. Another sentence, the rustling leaves kept me awake. Third is the sack fell into the river with a splash. So all these words, buzzing, rustling, splash, creates a sound effect that mimics the thing described, making description more interesting and more expressive. And if we talk about some of the examples from literature, the very first example is a poem that is The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe. It's an onslaught of onomatopoeia. Here in stanza 4 of the poem, he uses onomatopoeia in which words like throbbing, sobbing, moaning, groaning sound, like the things they refer to or describe. Even the opening lines of the Siren chapter of Ulysses by James Joyce contain 3 different types of the onomatopoeic language. And then if we talk about the different types of the onomatopoeia, the very first is the real word that sound like real things. It is also called a conventional onomatopoeia. Here we use words whose own sounds evoke the sound of the real thing. Like the example is the sound meow. This word meow, it actually imitates the sound produced by the cat. And second type of onomatopoeia is where the real words made to evoke the sound of real things. These are the words or a series of the words used to imitate a real world sound, even though the words used do not mimic. Like the Edgar Allan Poe used the word bell. In the poem, The Bell, Edgar Allan Poe used the word bell. So, this is the perfect example of this type of onomatopoeia. The third is made up words that sound like real things. These words can fill the void when no word exists to sufficiently capture the nuance of that particular sound or particular word. Like the perfect example is from James Joyce Ulysses. Ulysses has created a word that is tatarat rat to represent the sound of a knocking at the door. Another type is a series of letters that mimic a raw sound. Sometimes it involves no words at all, like, for example, the Z sound, because the Z sound is created to represent the sound of sleeping or snoring. So, this is all about the onomatopoeia and the different types of the onomatopoeia. Thank you. Have a nice day.